out from Expedia that showcases how much vacation people are taking. So show me the number of days, put it in the chat. Let me know how many days you get at work. And other than that, let's get started. And that let's get started. Okay. All right. So for those who are joining, this is the first of many presentations that I want to bring to you as my community that cares about wellness, and especially on a Friday when you have done all you can do for your employer, and now you're looking for a way to finish off your day in a healthy manner. So thank you for joining. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. We can all come here and relax. I will start going through the report very shortly. All right. Thank you. I see you. I see you. So we'll loosen up and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Okay, so without further ado, the reason why I'm covering this is because wellness is very important to me. And it is very important to me that we don't just talk about financial wellness as if it's in a category of its own, unrelated to all other forms of wellness. As we all know, they are all connected. And part of wellness is being on vacation, relaxing, and not letting anything stress you other than how many margaritas can you consume before alcohol poisoning, or before anybody at the resort starts to tell you to behave yourself. And if you have been told to behave yourself, hey, that's not so bad either. I think you probably deserved it. And even if you didn't, you're probably much better for it. So the question we want to answer today is, Expedia provides information, and they've done this great report over time about how exactly should we look at how Canadians take vacation. Now, they've done this for 23 years. And just to give you a background on the methodology that they use, it's pretty robust, actually. They use a survey of about 14,000 people. And 14,000 people are surveyed on different questions that are related to their intention to travel and take vacation. And they put this out for free. So because it's done by Expedia, I would like to say I am unaffiliated in any capacity with Expedia. I do not have any endorsement with them. And I do not host this as an affiliate of any product that they put out, including flights. So if some people who came here for flights, you will be sorely disappointed that I don't have discounted flights. But what I have today is information for you to be able to learn how exactly the world is approaching vacation. Now, throw me a one in the chat if you think vacation is a right and not a privilege. If you think vacation is a right and not a privilege, type 1 in the chat. Also, I would love to know where you're watching from. So, if it's Insta, type in Insta. If it's Facebook, type in FB. All right, so without further ado, I just wanted to point out a couple of things. If you are in a position where you can take your vacation, I do encourage you to actually take a real vacation and not one of these working vacations. When you take your laptop to your vacation, you're already setting up to not be fully on vacation. You're bringing work to your vacation. So if you're taking a vacation, get a real vacation in. There's no harm in taking those responsibilities off your shoulders for that little while. And it is not very clear, at least I am not aware, that working your way out of health is in the long term the sustainable model. So whenever you get 5 days of vacation, 10, 15 days of vacation, take those days and make sure you enjoy them. So before we go, I just want to define what vacation deprivation is. In this case, Expedia defines it as what happens when people work too much and have too little time off. So that's the report's focus. For me, I just wanted to take 15 to 30 minutes and focus on how vacation and taking vacation actually affects you, and also educate you a bit on what I learned about what the world is doing with their vacations. So at any point, type in an emoji to let me know that you're paying attention, and then we'll keep on going. So the report itself is very brief and it's very informational on a few things. It's information about how many days off people have, and in different parts of the world, how many days they take, which most of you would think Canada is the best or worst at something. You will be shocked and surprised that Canada is not at the top or at the bottom of any of these charts. It doesn't make them any less relevant, but it is definitely something to note that Canada is not at crisis levels or leading in any way. Some people will consider Canada as one of the better places in the world to have a job, and our jobs come with some vacation already embedded. It is very normal for a Canadian employer to give you some vacation time. Cannot take that for granted, because it is not always guaranteed that every employer in the world will actually provide vacation. So whenever you get vacation, appreciate it. Now, if you are going to take away one thing from this live, take away this: the deprivation levels for vacation are actually at a generational high. So it hasn't been this bad since 2013. And I don't know if you're old enough to remember what 2013 was. There was a mini recession going on. So does this surprise you that people are really not taking that much vacation around this period? We'll get into the many reasons why people are not taking vacation, but tell me, are you one of these people that have been working so hard you are not taking a vacation this year? Because this is very high. In the past 10 years, this is as bad as vacation deprivation has been. So for those people who have jobs, have you taken your vacation yet? Like if you have 15 days, you should probably be done with at least 5 of those things by now. If you have not taken 5 of your 15 days, you might be in that 62% that is experiencing vacation deprivation. Now you ask, where does Canada stand? Or where does Canada sit? Or where does Canada go when it comes to vacation deprivation? Now, here's an answer for you. It's neither at the top nor at the bottom. The worst is Mexico, believe it or not, especially because some of you vacation in Mexico. It doesn't look like it's the case for Mexicans, that they are not taking their vacations while they work for you on your vacation. I don't know how you're supposed to feel about that. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here presenting uh, the people's information. Okay. And then Canada is somewhere around 57%. So 57% of Canadians feel vacation deprived, which means 57% of Canadians feel like they work too hard and have too little time off. Do you feel that way? Is that something that resonates with you? I definitely feel that way. I'm surprised that it's only 57. Every single person that I speak to seem to believe that they work a little too hard, doesn't get paid enough, and doesn't get enough time off. Now let's look at the days given versus the days taken. That this part is very interesting. In a way, we have been conditioned to show the boss that we're working. And that's sometimes micromanaging bosses also love having people tied to their pockets so that they can tell them how awesome they are. However, it's a whole different thing when the days are given, you are actually allotted those days, and you do not take them. And this is not just a Canadian problem or an American problem or even an OECD problem. This is a global phenomenon. However, there are some two countries that actually take more than they are allotted. Now, these two countries are Japan and Hong Kong. Now, for me, I actually would like to know, how are they taking these extra days? So Japan is taking 26 days versus 22 days allotted, and Hong Kong is about the same. So 4 extra days that are not given for vacation, but they're taking them anyway. So I'm curious, how are they taking these days? But Expedia tells us that Japan takes most days off, and we've heard about the Japanese culture of overworking, but it looks like they're taking the days off, and they're taking more than allotted. However, when it comes to Canada, we are actually on the other side. First of all, we do not get 20-something days off, as most Europeans do. We get about 19 days off. 19 days off, so that's about almost 4 weeks. So we get about 4 weeks off, and we take about 3 weeks. So this means Canadians on average do not take all their allotted days of vacation. There are worse countries, specifically the US and Mexico. And the thing to note here is that in the US, they take less days, and they're given the least amount of days, at least in the countries that are presented. They only get 12 days, while we get 19. And the Europeans get almost 30 days. And these are 30 working days. So American working culture is, at least from what we can see, very intense, that only 12 days of vacation are given. Canada, on the other hand, about dead middle on how many days are given, but we're also not taking advantage of the days. So moving on, we'll talk about not just how many days we do take or we don't take. We'll talk about who's vacation deprived and what characteristics do they share. Because most people will assume that we all are vacation deprived equally. And as you all know, it's never quite equally. It is always, there's always a difference in how we take our vacations, depending on how much work we need to do, depending on life stage, and depending on generation. My presentation is running ahead of itself, so forgive me for jumping up and down, but here we are. All right, here we are. Can you see it? Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see the presentation. This is the first time we're doing this type of presentation, by the way. So if there are some technical glitches, My apologies. The streaming is brand new to me, and we are going to be getting better at this as time goes. So let's look at by industry and by population. Who's vacation deprived? Number one, parents. Parents are significantly vacation deprived. And then who's by generation, who's vacation deprived? Gen Z, highly vacation deprived. Like Gen Z are not going anywhere. So whenever they're acting out, you just understand they've been at work for so long. They're going stir crazy. Give them a break. All right, who else? The least vacation deprived are the baby boomers. So it must feel good to be a baby boomer right now. All your boomer jokes land on these well-rested shoulders and roll off without an itch. All right, so next time you're making fun of a boomer, just know they are well-rested. Those wrinkles are just golden years, baby. They don't care about you having to work and not take your vacation days. They take theirs. All right. And who else? Gen X. Gen X probably the most confusing of all outcomes because they're too young to have the tenure and the ability to vacation, but they're old enough to want it, and usually they're the ones with the kids. All right, so 53% of global respondents go 6 to 12 months or more between vacations. So how many months between vacations have you gone? I know my last vacation was in December. So it's been about 5 months between my last vacation. So, and I know I'm not taking another vacation for another 2 months. So I know for sure it will be beyond 6 months by the time I'm done with my vacations. All right. Type a 1 in the chat if you have taken less than 6 months in between vacations. If your last vacation was less than 6 months, let me know. All right. So let's go here. So what are the barriers to travel? Why do people not travel enough? So here are the reasons why people do not travel enough. 1 in 5 of the respondents say financial reasons are the reasons why. You want to go to Cancun, but you can't go because that ticket and that hotel hurts. Another 16% say they have restrictive schedules, so their employer won't let them, or they're busy personally. Their actual lives won't let them take a vacation. Which one do you fall into? Are you more likely to stop going to a vacation because of financial reasons, because of work issues, or because you're personally very too busy to go on vacation? Let me know in the chat. All right. So if working and work things are the reasons why you are unable to go on a vacation, how are you going to deal with that? Because let's assume we want you to be well rested while you're doing your job. So you cannot keep up the pace of not going on vacation because there's work to do. As you all know, you work hard, but you got to rest hard as well. You come back recharged. So tell me, which areas of the work keep you the most away from your vacations? So it looks like Mexico is the highest likely country to stop people from going on vacation because of work. And Germany is the least likely to stop you from going on vacation because of work. How relevant is this to your current situation? All right, we're getting to the end of the report now. So I want to hear what you have learned. I want to see your comments and see what you have learned, like from sharing this. So let me know, are you going to travel this year? Is that part of your plans? And because of inflation, people have made some real choices. And when I say real choices, these are some real tough choices. Like, for example, let me show you this. Because of the cost of living, people have had to make the following choices. People have had to postpone vacations, cut back on groceries, cut back on dining out because of the cost of living. Is this something that sounds familiar? Is this something that you have personally done? I know last year's economy is not this year's economy. Inflation, now that inflation is going down, maybe we'll see that wallet pressure ease up a bit. But I know for sure there's not one of us that has stared at their grocery bill and said, wait a minute, did I buy eggs or did I buy a car? I cannot tell because those prices have gone bonkers. Central banks say that right now the rates are going to be on their way down because inflation is on its way down, but we'll have to wait and see. All right. Has anything surprised you so far? Let me know in the chat and we'll go through this last bit. Let me know in the chat. And by the way, do you plan your own trips, or do you actually get a what do you call it, a trip planner or one of these airlines booking services to book that for you? So instead of going on vacation, some people have actually used this vacation time for other things. Now, let me show you the top 7 things, the 7 or 5, top 5 things people are using their vacation days for. So people, instead of going on vacation, are using their vacations this way. They're taking personal appointments 65% of the time. They're taking 6 days, sick days 50% of the time. They're taking on DIY work around their house about 50% of the time. They're taking care of children. So they're taking vacation to take care of children, which I don't really know if that counts as vacation at all. If you have parents in this chat, please let me know. And there's some people who are taking mental health days. So take a vacation, sit at home, take care of your mentals, make sure you get yourself right. Does any of this resonate with you? Let me know. All right, last but not least, we've seen people decide to take less vacation because of cost. We've seen people take vacation and just chill at home to make sure that they take care of the mental health of their children or some projects around the house. But what do people who intend to travel say? People who travel actually intend to travel no matter what. That's the conclusion of this report. 87 of global travelers intend to travel the same amount or more in 2023. This report was actually compiled in February 2023. So you can see that the travelers are itching. They're already on the road, actually. They're good and ready to go. So we're just going to relax. It's Friday. We'll let the week roll off our shoulders. And 57% have already booked a trip this year. So are you one of those 57%? I know my wife has already traveled at least 2-3 times. And my father-in-law has also traveled quite extensively already this year. But he's retired, so he did his job, and he's one of those boomers who is not worried about nothing. All right. So that is the end of the presentation. I believe I can leave you there and you will be quite informed by what I just presented to you. So that is it. These are some of the, as I mentioned, this is compiled by Expedia, so it's not particularly unbiased towards travel, but it's a good report to have nonetheless. So this is the last. So this is the last piece I'll leave with you. 87 of global travelers view time off as a basic right, not a luxury. Is that something you agree with? Even when faced with the need to make trade-offs, 67% of travelers vow not to deprioritize their vacations. Instead, more than a half of global respondents plan to deprioritize spending on fashion and clothing and dining out. So are you deprioritizing dining out and fashion and clothing over travel? Let me know. That is it. I will probably be hanging up right now. Send me your questions wherever you've been watching. Send me your DMs wherever you've been watching. And thank you so much for being on this chat. I truly appreciate your presence. We'll do more of this. I'll try to do one every Friday. I'll go back and watch it and see if it presented well. And if it did, we'll continue doing this. So thank you and enjoy your weekend.